Good morning everyone, welcome back to another episode. We are in the Bendleby Ranges. We have decided to do a bit of a shakedown after the Adelaide 4-Drive and Adventure Show. Come up here for a couple of nights, see how the Troopy goes, see what we think, especially after all the engine mods. And we've been meaning to come up here for years. It is so green, so it's definitely the most perfect time of year to come.
It's honestly incredible. Like, it is actually lush around here. Like, usually this is really dry and arid.
Yeah.
And yeah, the owners just say this is just, they've really never quite probably seen it like this. Yeah.
So a very special thing to see, and we're actually excited because we're not too far from the Flinders, but it is something different than we haven't seen in the area, considering we lived out here for such a long time. So
yeah, no, really cool. So we'll do a little trip and show you around.
Yeah. So obviously we don't have a build out yet, which is fine. We're obviously making it work. We're just being very basic when it comes to cooking and eating. So yeah, this is obviously our box from the Hilux from the good old days. And then everything, we do also have merch in here as well from the 4-Drive show. If you want any merch, jump on our online store. So usually we wouldn't have that in here either, so it is taking up a bit of room. But I just can't wait till we get a build out. It is actually quite frustrating having to move stuff around all the time. Open this big box. I was saying about last night, we're looking at getting Expedition 134 boxes. We had a look at them at the show, but they sold out before we got any, which is fine. But it's just annoying having everything in one big box, like all of our recovery gear, camping gear, cooking gear, kitchen gear. Like, it's just a lot to have in one, so it'd be good to have them segregated, but that would just be temporary as well till we get the build out in. So yeah, this obviously is not how we're going to travel full time in LC like this, but yeah, just still worth making the effort to go traveling, having a trip.
Did you call it Elsie?
I called it Elsie, it's not Elsie. We still haven't named it, so if you've got any name suggestions.
A lot of people send us names, we just haven't stuck to one yet.
Well, maybe just send us more names then, if we haven't stuck to one. We, again, yeah, we kind of want to grab its personality once it's finished, once the build's finished, but if you've got any really ripper suggestions, let us know.
Never get sick of that.
What are we doing today?
So today we are going to do a loop just around Bendleby. Now there's lots and lots of different tracks you can do, from easy to hard, with many grades in between. So there's heaps of options. We're just going to do a medium track, which is this orange one here, which apparently is very scenic, plenty of lookouts, and will take about an hour and a half. So that sounds like a perfect start to the day for us. We'll get going. Alright, I'm going to lock the hubs for the first time. Pretty exciting. I haven't even put this in 4-Drive yet, so big moment. Just as a side note, I actually think these hubs are the stupidest thing possibly on this car. Just either give me full manual or full auto from the cab. I don't get it. Anyway, here we are. Thanks, Toyota. Yeah, that's it. Full drive.
Okay, so we've done about half of that track that that's on our little map, and the good thing about this map is we have noticed that we can just kind of peel off whenever we want. So plan is now we're actually going to head up to Hawker and then Parachilna. Hawker, we're going to visit Flinders Food Co. It's an awesome little cafe restaurant there. We've only ever stopped to get coffee, but it looks like they do amazing food, so we're going to call
I think it's like a young couple, and
yeah,
you know, they've opened up in a, you know, sort of an outback town, you know, foot of the Flinders, and just opened up this awesome cafe. We've always wanted to go and eat there.
Yeah. So we've got this opportunity, so we're going to link out now. It's probably like an hour drive from here to Hawker, have some lunch, and then drive up to Parachilna, because we still have stuff that we left out there from, when was it, 2020, when we had to evacuate. Really, and we couldn't fit it in Elsie, so.
Yeah, so, I don't know, it's so cool that we can just sort of peel off, go to Hawker, have lunch, you know, halfway through a four-wheel drive track.
Yeah.
The track so far has just been stunning. Like, what do you reckon, Hop?
It's been really good. Yeah, I would be a bit nervous doing their hard tracks because they're medium track. It's not hard, like we've been fine, but there's a few like little steeper sections.
Yeah,
and
if
stuff.
you're keen on, you know, trying to do some proper four-wheel driving and challenge yourself, I think, you know, out here would have some really fun tracks. So, well, I know they do. So, yeah, it's got something for everyone out here, I think, and it's looking an absolute picture at the moment. As you can see, it's just ridiculously green.
Does, hey?
So they're the tacos?
Lamb tacos, yeah.
Lamb tacos, and I got the
Chicken burger.
Korean chicken burger. How does the Troopy feel crawling up this stuff compared to Elsie?
Fine so far. This isn't overly technical, which is good for me, obviously. But yeah, no, good. I feel like I have probably more power.
Well, you definitely do. You definitely got a bit more power. Just a little bit. Maybe like 3 2Hs. Yeah, I mean Elsie would do this stuff fine, but yeah, this thing's really crawls really well. It's really good. All right, morning everyone. We've just had a fantastic sleep here in Bendleby Ranges. Thank you to Kylie and Charlie for hosting us last night. We had a great time around the campfire, just chatting and having a few beers. Bendleby Ranges, if you've been thinking about doing it, definitely come along. If you don't know about it, put it on your list. It's one of those places, look, it's near the Flinders, and I think Flinders gets all the limelight. Obviously, we love the Flinders, it's breathtaking, but I think this kind of flies under the radar a bit. And as far as like tracks go, forward driving, beautiful campsites, incredible vistas and lookouts, Bendleby is fantastic. So definitely come along. Now, we've had obviously a really good chance to test the Troopy out and put it in forward drive for the first time. I even put the diff locks in and just give it a bit of a test and actually feel how all the modifications are going so far. So what I thought I'd do is just run through with Holly pretty much our thoughts and our feelings and everything so far, and things that we want to do or maybe want to change, or things that we're really liking. So we'll get into it. All right, starting at the front here, the Falcons and the ROH rims. Now, these are 315/75/16s. They are a big tyre, just technically under a 35, I think, but pretty much a 35. First off, love the way they look. We got a lot of comments. People really like just the size of them on the car. They really give the car a really good stance. Off-road, they were fantastic tyres. I didn't have any slipping or any issues at all. I noticed just falling into holes less. Obviously, they're a bigger tyre, and that also translates across into on-road behaviour, sort of potholes and that. You just barely feel potholes in them. So really liking them. But as a size, they are a little bit inconvenient. This front bumper here does scrub when you're sort of turning a little bit and or sort of at lock. So it scrubs, not great, but we will be getting a bull bar soon. But just keep that in mind. If you're wanting to go this size, you might scrub a bit if you've got the original bumper. Not many people do. So we are really keen to get our bull bar. We are going to be getting one from the Cruiser Company, which is the exact same as the rear bar, which again, we've been loving. The rear bar's been great. Yeah, really like the way it looks. Getting comments on that as well. People really like the way it looks. Probably one thing I'm going to change is just the latch. Holly's finding it a little hard to open, but also just the finish on the back of it. A bit harsh on her hands, poor thing. So we're just going to put some edging on it, and I'm just going to paint it up just to make it a bit nicer to open. Besides that, yeah, been loving the tyres. All right, next up is my thoughts on the parabolics so far. So this is the Terrain Tamer parabolics, the 3780 GVM upgrade. All right, absolutely love them so far. On-road behaviour is fantastic. Just the way it corners and handles, doesn't wallow around at all, despite being a big, heavy, top-heavy car. Doesn't wallow around at all. I had the opportunity the other day to drive a 79 that had a 39950 GVM upgrade done to it, and it had leaves in the back. Now, it only had a tray in the back. It didn't have a canopy, so it didn't have any weight in it, but that ride was so harsh and just, it threw me around so much, and it was really uncomfortable. Now, granted, it didn't have weight in it, but these parabolics I've driven without weight, no tent, nothing in the back, so the car was really light, handled really, really well. And now with all the weight on the car and in the car, handles great as well. So the benefit of parabolics is they're sort of adaptive to the weight you put on them. The more weight you put on, the more sort of resistance they give. So yeah, just really comfort through the weight range, which you don't really get with leaves or even coils. They're something you've got to set to the weight. So really loving the parabolics so far. All right, next up, we've just got the roof rack and tent. Now, we've had this combo in Elsie for years and absolutely loved it. We've got the Camp King tent, the front runner roof rack. Now, the Camp King Industries rooftop tent and awning is just so comfortable, and I would always pick comfort over not having the weight up there. We prefer a really comfortable, quick setup. Just last night I was commenting how much I love the tent. It's just so comfortable inside. We always get really good sleep in there. It's just like the bed at home. Front runner roof rack, obviously the quality is fantastic. We had that in Elsie and just absolutely put it through a ringer and it survived. But with this Troopy, obviously right now I'm 6'2", and this is a fair bit higher than me, so you can gauge a bit of the idea of the height. Love the combo, and as I said, we'd always go the comfort, but we do want to go the rooftop conversion eventually, because we're going to be bringing the weight down. The center of gravity is going to be down, and it's going to be lighter overall. I reckon it'll be around, could be 300 to 400 mil lower, and probably 70 to 100 kilos lighter, which is a huge difference in your center of gravity and the way the car's going to handle. As I was saying with the parabolics, they handle it really well, but on the tracks, if you're in the sort of twisty bits, you do notice it tosses around a little bit, and I think that would just be improved greatly if we can get that rooftop conversion done. And then obviously you're getting all the other benefits of a rooftop conversion, being able to stand up inside, get inside the car and have it as a bit more of a living space. So we are really excited to get that. That will be in development. We are getting one built from the ground up. So if everyone's been asking me which rooftop conversion I'm going, I was umming and ahhing with a few different options. There are some really good options out there, but just didn't quite suit our needs. So Project Overland in Sydney has decided to build one from the ground up, which will be available to buy. That's going to be fully Australian made canvas, designed and made here in Australia. And we've been tossing ideas back and forth about what we want in a rooftop conversion, and Steve has some incredible ideas. So I think the conversion they're going to make is going to be just an incredible conversion, and it's going to bring more options to the market. So I'm really excited to get that on when it's been developed. All right. So interior space, driving comfort. This is probably, personally, this has been my favorite thing about this car. I mean, obviously coming from a 40 series, it's a big difference anyway. But even for a 70 series, this is fantastic. So as I said, I had the opportunity to drive a 79 the other day. It was the workmate, but it had a fair bit of work done to it, but the interior was stock. And it was a far cry from what we have done in here. It was just extremely uncomfortable, threw me around. I hated the stock seats. Even the gear stick, we've got a 2-inch gear stick extension here, and even that, reaching down for the gears just didn't feel great. This is so much nicer, the position here. Obviously the Shieldman seats, they just go without saying. They're a fantastic seat. If you've got a 70 series, I would highly recommend looking into the Shieldman seats. They'll just improve your comfort when driving. And I think spending money on seats is something to consider, because you spend a lot of time when you're touring in your seats driving. They're one of the things you spend the most time in, that and your bed. So that's why I always say, if you can get those things right, quick, easy and comfortable, then your whole trip's going to be better. Other things that we've improved with the interior, the one-stone armrests have been absolutely fantastic. They're just a really easy, cheap modification that not only gives you really good armrest, because the 70 series doors are so thin, they're quite horrible to try and lean on. You can't really do it at all. Also, you get a nice big cup holder that we can fit our coffee mugs into, which helps. Got the Scan Gauge 3 up here, which is really good unit. It's one up from the Scan Gauge 2. Has a really nice color screen that you've got heaps of information on, so I can check my EGTs. I've been checking my engine load, especially after the tune, see how it's all looking, and just make sure the engine's not stressed, running nicely, which is really good. And I'm also going to lump in the engine mods with driving comfort, because the engine, the way it is now after the modifications, makes the car so much nicer to drive. As I was saying with the 79, I was driving the other day, it didn't have the engine done, and I was just always mashing through gears, foot was flat, and revving it really hard all the time. Overtaking is sort of a bit of an issue. You're sort of thinking, all right, how am I going to do this? It's like the 40 series. You're thinking you've got to make a plan to overtake, whereas this is just smooth power through the rev range, and it actually just makes the car a lot more comfortable to drive. So I actually want to get in and drive this thing. Like I've been saying to Holly, like we'll stop at a pub and Holly's like, oh, you can have a few beers, I'll drive. And I'm like, no, I kind of want to drive. So yeah, absolutely loving it. Yeah, I'm really happy with the way this interior is set up. One thing we do have to do though is the center console fridge. We've got the Bushman roadie, which will be going in here. And I think that'll just sort of complete the interior for us. But yeah, really, really happy with the way it's going so far. So just adding to our interior comfort quickly, we've also got the Oricom tire pressure monitoring system. This is a great little peace of mind. We had ours in the 40 and we used it a couple of times, and it, just gave us the info. Tyres going flat, which is really good to know. It can save you a tyre. Sometimes when you're on really rough roads, you can shred the tyre up before you even know it's going flat. It might sound crazy, but it's happened to me before. So yeah, good little bit of insurance, these things. Also on-road comfort, the track correction. Look, I didn't drive the car much without it, so it is hard for me to say, but honestly, the car just is not a handful on the road at all. Very nice to drive. I haven't driven in sandy conditions yet, so I'll have to get back to you when I do, but from initial thoughts and feelings about it is, yeah, it feels great on the road.
Okay, so in terms of the build out, this has probably been the one issue with the car so far. We are really excited to get a proper build out in. Initially, as I said yesterday, we did put all of our camping gear in this box, which has actually been very frustrating. Trying to find stuff in it has been quite annoying. We constantly have to move it forward because we have left the second row of seats in just for the minute, mainly just to use as a divider for our clothes, camera gear and computers at the moment. So that is going when we do the build out. But yeah, it's a bit of a dog's breakfast in here at the moment. We also went via Parachurna yesterday and picked up some stuff that we left out there a couple of years ago. So it's all kind of chucked in. So we are really excited to have a build out, to get the roof conversion, actually be able to get up and get inside and stand up. We kind of didn't realize how much of an issue it was crouching down in Elsie until we actually thought about having a roof conversion on this car. So we are really excited for that. In terms of power, again, we are very excited to get a 12-volt system in. We are doing a full red arc system, which will be really good. This trip we have just been using a battery box for the fridge, but every couple of days the battery is going flat, and because we don't have a cord connecting it to the vehicle, we're relying on a 12-volt charger, which at the moment we don't have access to, so we currently have no power, which has been a bit frustrating. Also yesterday, it was good that we did drive quite a bit yesterday because we did have the ability to charge batteries and stuff in the cab while we were going. But yeah, really excited just for like an easy system, plug and play, everything will be accessible. And be able to turn this vehicle into an off-road camera rig, which is essentially why we are building it up. That probably then takes me on to camera gear. Again, this trip we've only taken a little bit, 2 camera bodies, a few lenses. So we are excited. In the build out, we will have a dedicated camera space, which will be really good to house everything and yeah, just have everything have a home, because at the moment things don't have a home and it's very frustrating. And then so following on from interior comfort, when we do the build out, we will also be installing 2 gull-wing windows from the cruiser company. We'll be having one on this set of windows and one on the passenger rear. This side we will be incorporating a shower system. We're going to have an 8-litre electric kettle for hot water. Gull-wing will pop up. We have got an awesome shower tent coming from Destination 4-Wheel Drive. It's a new product that they've released at the Adelaide 4-Wheel Drive show. I don't know if they have stuff on their socials, not sure if they have stuff on their website yet, but we are really excited. It is like in leagues above every other shower tent on the market at the moment. So that will be going on. And then yeah, here we'll have all of our toiletries, all of our shower components, whereas in Elsie, everything was always in a drawer. So we did shower quite often, but it was an effort to do it. So just having everything accessible, it's going to be really, really good. So another thing we have put on the vehicle, you would have seen in the build, is the bush wraps. Again, we haven't really used it this trip, but it is just a good peace of mind thing when we are going down 4-wheel drive tracks, if they are tighter, to protect the paint. Yeah, so far so good. They've been really good. So that is the end of this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you have liked it, make sure you hit the thumbs up. And if you are new here, make sure you subscribe. We're really excited to get this vehicle back to Sydney to finish off stage 2, 3, 4, 5 of the build. Really excited to show you what we do and how it all goes.